All right, so you own a STIHL HS45 hedge trimmer. Let's go over the basics. Let's get you in the nose so that you can go out and use this thing properly, maintain it properly, and get the most out of your machine. So, the STIHL HS45 is an 18-inch hedge trimmer. Fairly easy to operate, but I want to talk about fuel, I want to talk about maintenance, I want to talk about some of these things that make it a winner for you. Let's start with fuel. Let me grab the machine again. Fuel. Fuel is going to go here. This is a 2-cycle machine, so it requires mixed oil and gas. We have 2 ways we can do that. One is by purchasing the STIHL Ultra 2-cycle oil that comes in different sizes. And I mix that with 1 gallon of gas. I put it in my no-spill gas can. And as always, we recommend an ethanol-free fuel. It is hard to find, but ethanol is very damaging, especially to a hedge trimmer. Why to a hedge trimmer? Why is it more damaging to a hedge trimmer than anything else? Well, it's not necessarily more damaging, but the problem with a hedge trimmer is we don't use it consistently. It gets broken out once or twice a year. So I believe personally that the best answer for a hedge trimmer is to run Moto Mix. This stuff is awesome. It's a 93 octane, no ethanol, a 2-year shelf life once I crack the lid. So as often as I use a hedge trimmer, personally I recommend running Moto Mix in the machine. All right, so we got our fuel figured out. What else do we need to do to maintain and keep this thing in optimal running condition? Lubrication. First of all, these blades do need lubricated, and depending on what we're cutting, whether it's a leafy green material or a pitchy, needly material, so think arborvitae versus a boxwood. Boxwood provides a fair amount of lubrication and also doesn't give you any pitch, whereas an arborvitae you're going to get pitch buildup. So STIHL makes this awesome stuff called resin remover. Every time before I start my machine up, I lubricate the blade. So I'm simply going to take this can and I'm going to spray down the top of each side of the blades as well as down the bottom. And this will cut the pitch as well as lubricate the blades. There's one other place to lubricate, and that is the gearbox. This gearbox should be greased about every 50 hours. How often is 50 hours? Man, that's a long time. So personally, I check it annually. And I'm going to need my handy steel scrinch. And this on the side, this little screw plug will come out, just like so. And once I get this in my hand, set that aside, and I grab my steel tube of multi-lube. It is designed to just screw right into here and give it a light squeeze. So think like toothpaste, just a small little strip of grease needs to go in here. Personally, do it once a year. That way you don't forget how often has it been done, how long has it been since I've done that. So we've got the proper fuel mix, we've got the blade lubricant, the resin remover, we've got the gearbox lubrication. Doing those things will keep this in optimal running condition. How do I start this machine? Well, let me give you a little tip. I always leave this sheath on for protection because I don't control this machine when I'm pulling the rope. So, first step is to make sure it's on. I is on, O is off. Think ignition, I. So flip it back, on, prime it. 4 or 5 pumps on the primer is all it should take. I just want to make sure the fuel is flowing to and through the carburetor. Choke it, which is forward. And you'll see there's 2 lines on the side and a shutter that comes down. So I can't breathe. That's the choke mechanism. And then lock the throttle. There's a little throttle lock here. I squeeze the trigger. I push in, I let go of the throttle. The throttle is now locked. So I primed it, I've got it choked. I'm going to pull this machine, and it's going to fire, pop on the first or second pull. You're going to immediately take it off choke. It's not going to be running. I'm going to pull it 1 or 2 more times and it's going to fire up. So why did I have this guard on? Because I had the throttle locked. So as soon as I started it, those blades were moving, and I don't want those moving blades as I'm not in control of the unit. So it's best to honestly put this machine on the ground, or like I did, held it like so. Once I run it for a minute or so, I'll shut it off, take the sheath off, turn it back on. No throttle lock, no primer, no choke. And give it a pull. That's a much safer way to start it. Okay, maintenance. Besides greasing and lubrication, I should keep an eye on the air filter. That's right there on the side. I should potentially change the spark plug once in a while. That's located right here in the front, and I can use my steel scrunch to do so. And the other thing, one of the most common things that I see fail on a hedge trimmer is the spark arrestor screen. And that's located right on the bottom of the unit. Okay, a hedge trimmer running wide open throttle, this screen is probably never going to get plugged up, but it's very common that I'm lightly using this machine. I don't need to be at wide open throttle, so I'm kind of running at half throttle. And when you do that, that will eventually plug up this screen. So you're going to go out to use this sometime, and it's going to be plugged up. It's going to be almost constipated. It doesn't want to rev up. First thing I would do is pull out that screen. It's all black, it's all carboned up, it's nasty. Time for a new one. Stop in at Carl's Mower and Saw and pick up a new spark arrestor screen. If you're in a pinch, you can grab a torch and actually burn it out and take a steel or wire brush to it and clean it off. But that's going to be your biggest hiccup right there, okay? So good fuel, keep an eye on my air filter, lubricating the blades, lubricating the gearbox. As always, safety first, right? So I should be wearing some safety glasses. Also, earmuffs. Hey, these things are loud and they're right in your face, right? A lot of times I'm operating up here, so wear your ear protection, wear your safety glasses. Keep it away from your legs and your fingers. Sharpening, I'd recommend getting this sharpened every couple of years. You're gonna keep an eye on the blades. Right now it's a nice angle, a sharp angle, and eventually you'll start rounding off that corner or that edge. Looking for tearing on the plant that you're cutting, not grass. Usually we don't cut grass with a hedge trimmer, although it does do pretty well on tall grass. Also, this thing is a beast on blackberries. Very useful if you got blackberries, just to push them back. They're growing over your neighbor's fence. Grab this thing, shear it back. As always, when you purchase a machine from Carl's Mower and Saw, you're gonna get this nice manual, our contact information, model, serial, the date of purchase. You're gonna open it up. It's gonna give you some reminders about fuel and about oil, as well as a referral card. And I'm gonna have the owner's manual for the machine, as well as a hedge trimmer safety manual. Okay, that's an overview of the HS45 hedge trimmer. Enjoy your awesome new machine. As always, Carl's is here to help, so reach out to us if you have questions, stop by, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.